3 years in the wake of overcoming Mechagodzilla, Kong has laid out his new area in the empty Earth and looks for a greater amount of his sort. On Earth's surface, Godzilla keeps on keeping everything under control among mankind and Goliath beasts, known as Titans, by killing Scylla in Rome and resting in the Colosseum a short time later. The Ruler Association accept that inasmuch as Kong and Godzilla work on various planes, there will be harmony. Every once in a while, Kong rises to the top, explicitly when he really wants clinical consideration. On one example, his tooth is tainted, and he really wants a substitution, which is regulated by Catcher. Kong gets once again to empty Earth, at whatever point his work is finished. Ruler realized that Kong nearly lost his life during his last conflict with Godzilla and need to keep them separated. A Ruler perception station positioned in the empty Earth gets an unidentified sign. By all accounts, the sign causes Jaw, Kaylee Hoddle, the most recent overcomer of the IWI clan from Skull Island, to encounter visualizations and dreams, causing her assenting mother, Dr. Eileen Andrews, Rebecca Corridor, to stress. Andrews approaches unit caster Bernie Hayes with her information and believes his assistants should comprehend what the signs mean. After examination, Bernie guesses that the sign has harmonized with explicit Titan occasions on a superficial level before. In that capacity, the sign addresses a misery call to Godzilla. Likewise, detecting the sign, Godzilla leaves Rome and assaults an atomic plant in France to retain the radiation. Godzilla then, at that point, heads to the Titan Tiamat's sanctuary in the Icy. Tiamat is the biggest single wellspring of energy in the world. Godzilla tears Tiamat separated and enters its sanctuary to ingest the whole store of energy. Ruler accepts Godzilla is reinforcing himself for an approaching danger. At the point when a sinkhole opens close to his home, Kong finds an unknown locale where a clan of his animal types has made do, including an adolescent named Suko. After an underlying showdown, Kong powers Suko to lead him to the clan's refuge, and the two gradually bond on their excursion. Suko attempts to kill Kong by tricking him into the way of various beasts. However, Kong routs them all somewhat without any problem. This gives Suko the certainty that Kong is sufficiently able to confront the risks ahead. The clan's overbearing chief, the Scar Ruler, fights Kong with the guide of an old ice-fueled titan, Shimo, whom the Scar Lord controls with torment utilizing a precious stone. Shimo's breath was liable for the keep-going ice age in the world. Shimo's ice breath harms Kong's right arm, causing frostbite, yet with Suko's assistance, Kong figures out how to get away, however he loses his hatchet all the while. Andrews and Jaw, close by Titan veterinarian catcher, Dan Stevens, and intrigue unit caster Bernie Hayes, Brian Tyree Henry, travel to the empty Earth to find the wellspring of the sign. They find the Ruler Station obliterated. As the gathering adventures forward to the wellspring of the sign, they find a sanctuary, behind a natural bio-radiant disguised hindrance, that drives them to an underground segment that houses an enduring IWI clan, who impart clairvoyantly with one another. Investigating a few remnants, they infer that the sign was a clairvoyant pain call sent by the IWI. While noticing Jaw associating with the IWI, Andrews voices her feelings of dread to Catcher that Jaw might decide to remain with her kin and that Andrews would need to acknowledge it. Inside a sanctuary, Andrews reveals hieroglyphics showing the past and future. The Scar Ruler once endeavored to vanquish the surface world and battled against Godzilla's species. However, Godzilla crushed him and caught him and his clan profound inside the empty Earth. When Kong entered empty Earth, the IWI public realized that it was inevitable that Scar Ruler and Kong would meet. What's more, there was plausible that Scar Ruler would overcome Kong and would get away to the surface through the gateways. Thus, the IWI had been conveying trouble messages to draw in the consideration of Godzilla and Jaw. The prescience additionally demonstrates that Jaw would be the way to stirring up Mothra. Mothra is responsible for safeguarding the leap focuses between empty Earth and surface Earth and keeping up with harmony between the two spaces. Detecting Jaw, Kong finds the sanctuary and is fitted by Catcher with a model exoskeleton arm support to reinforce and recuperate his frostbitten appendage. The model exoskeleton arm support was put away at Station 1 and thus was rapidly available. Unbeknownst to them, one of the Scar Ruler's supporters has followed them and illuminates the Scar Lord, who collects his intrusion force for Earth. Jaw effectively stirs the renewed Mothra. Godzilla ingests infinite radiation from Tiamat's sanctuary, developing him and turning his dorsal plates red. Wanting to draw Godzilla to the empty Earth to help him, Kong surfaces in Cairo and shouts to Godzilla. In spite of Kong's endeavors to convey, a perturbed Godzilla assaults him, and a concise battle follows until Mothra shows up with Jaw and persuades Godzilla to help Kong. The threesome then, at that point, goes to empty Earth to confront the Scar Lord alongside Shimo and his military. The battle hauls Godzilla, Kong, Shimo and the Scar Lord to Rio de Janeiro, where Shimo starts to instigate another ice age at the Scar Ruler's order. Shimo fires his ice breath very high, covering the sky and scratching out the sun. In spite of various endeavors, neither one of the gatherings can acquire authority over the other, and the city of Rio is obliterated in the fight. The groups are uniformly coordinated until Suko shows up with Kong's hatchet and obliterates the gem controlling Shimo. With the aggravation gone, Shimo presently pays attention to Godzilla, who focuses him toward the Scar Lord. Shimo and Kong then, at that point, freeze and break the Scar Ruler. In the wake of fixing Shimo's ice age with his nuclear breath, Godzilla gets back to rest in the Colosseum. Jaw reunites with Andrews and lightens her feelings of trepidation by deciding to remain with her embraced mother. Mothra reestablishes the defensive obstruction of the Iwi's home and afterward leaves. Kong gets back with Shimo and Suko to empty Earth, where he turns into the primate clan's new chief.